Shedeur Sanders walked into the NFL with both the weight of expectation and the shadow of doubt trailing him everywhere he went. And now, after his latest outing with the Cleveland Browns, the whispers have turned into a roar. Was this about football? Or was this about setting him up to fail? From the start, something about the way the Browns handled Shedeur felt off. Analysts noticed it, fans noticed it, and even players who've lived through the grind of the league saw the writing on the wall. He wasn't put in a position to succeed. He was put in a position to survive, if he could. When you throw a young quarterback into the fire with practice squad level protection and receivers who won't even make the roster, you're not testing him, you're burying him. And that's exactly what critics are accusing head coach Kevin Stefanski and the Browns organization of doing, stacking the deck against Shedeur Sanders from the very beginning. Stephen A. Smith was one of the first voices to call it out. He said, "This preseason looked like a setup from the moment Shedeur was named the starter in the first game. To him, it wasn't about development, it was about optics. It was about the Browns proving to the world that the hype surrounding Deion Sanders' son didn't belong in the NFL spotlight." In Smith's eyes, the organization wanted to remind everyone that Shedeur was a fifth-round guy and nothing more. That's a damning accusation, but one that suddenly feels plausible given the way things have played out. Then Garrett Bush weighed in, echoing what so many close observers have noticed. Shedeur was never a priority in Cleveland's plans, who was always on the outside looking in, hours of extra work before and after practice, long days spent trying to catch up, and yet when it mattered, he wasn't surrounded with the kind of talent that could help him show what he could really do. Instead, he was given scraps and told to make a meal. The result? Predictable failure. But what makes the whole situation worse is Stefanski's response. Instead of acknowledging the reality that Shedeur was playing behind a line of third and fourth stringers who couldn't protect him, Stefanski doubled down, placing the blame solely on Sanders himself. When pressed on why Shedeur hadn't been given even a few snaps with the first team to help him acclimate, the coach brushed it aside. His job, he insisted, was to develop players. But how does throwing a quarterback into situations he's never practiced, situations no young player could succeed in, count as development? It doesn't. It's neglect dressed up as tough love. Skip Bayless didn't mince words either. He called the Browns' handling of Shedeur the worst possible approach for a young quarterback. This wasn't just a one-off mistake, it was part of a pattern. Sanders wasn't being groomed, he was being mishandled, tossed into situations that would break his rhythm and his confidence. And while the Browns might think they're teaching him lessons about toughness, what they're really doing is undermining his growth. Even Chad Ochocinco Johnson stepped into the debate, hammering home a point so simple it's almost embarrassing that it needs to be said. You can't expect success when you surround a quarterback with players who don't belong on an NFL field. He argued that even Tom Brady in his prime would have looked bad behind that line with that group of receivers. So how could anyone expect Sanders, just beginning his career, to thrive under those conditions? According to Ochocinco, the fix was in. The goal wasn't to test him, it was to make him stumble. And when the critics come calling, when they label him a bust, nobody will talk about the real culprits, the coaches and the system that put him there. And yet, through all of this noise, Shedeur Sanders himself has refused to play the victim. He hasn't lashed out at Stefanski. He hasn't pointed fingers at his teammates. He hasn't blamed the Browns for the mess. Instead, he's done what every professional hopes their young quarterback will do. He's taken full ownership. He admitted he needed to get his eyes in better spots. He admitted he could have moved through his progressions quicker. He even went as far as to say every sack was on him. That kind of accountability is rare, especially for a rookie under fire. And while his critics might use those words as proof of his inadequacy, the truth is it shows his maturity. It shows he understands the game. It shows he's built for the long run. But how long can a young man keep taking all the blame on himself before it starts to break him? How long can he keep absorbing punishment while the system shrugs its shoulders? That's the haunting question. Lingering in the air. At some point, responsibility has to shift where it belongs, on the shoulders of those making the decisions, because what we're watching isn't just about one quarterback having a rough preseason. It's about a pattern in the NFL that eats its young. Shedeur's story is exposing something larger, the way certain players, particularly those who don't fit the league's preferred narrative, get treated differently. His last name brings hype? Yes, but it also brings resentment. It makes some people root for him to fail, to prove that his rise was just noise and not substance. And that's why this moment matters, because if Shedeur Sanders, a young man with talent, work ethic, and maturity, can be set up like this, how many other players have been quietly broken by the same machine? Despite all of this, Shedeur isn't running from the fight. His resilience is becoming the story, not his mistakes. He's facing adversity head on, learning, adjusting, refusing to let the orchestrated setbacks define him. But the NFL has a choice to make. Will it keep allowing promising players to be used as pawns in power plays and media narratives, or will it start creating real opportunities for them to succeed? The Browns might think they've slowed Shedeur's rise, but in reality, they may have sparked something much bigger, a conversation about fairness, bias, and what it really means to develop a quarterback in today's NFL. And if Sanders keeps carrying himself with the same accountability and determination he's shown so far, then no amount of sabotage will keep him down for long. Now the question is yours. Do you believe Shedeur Sanders is being treated fairly, or is this all part of a deeper problem in the league? How much blame should fall on Stefanski and the Browns for the way they've handled him? And how long should players like Shedeur be expected to shoulder the burden for circumstances beyond their control? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more breakdowns of stories the league doesn't want you to hear, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more.